Welcome to week 4 of the Chopping Birds Weekly NFL Podcast. I am your co-host, Port Chop, but I'm flying solo tonight. Chris is once again dealing with some personal issues, so he should be back next week. Everything should be good. Of course, Chris would pick this week to not show up because I'm currently leading with the picks in the standings right now. I have 32. I'm 32-16. Chris is 31-17. Michael is 28-20, and my wife is also 28-20. So being just one game above Chris feels like a million. But in all honesty, it'll probably change throughout the entire season. If not, one just running away with it, and it's probably going to be Chris. So of course, like I said, he would pick this week to not show up, not show his pretty little face to me when I take the lead. But anyway, so last week was actually kind of crazy with the games. I'll have to say that. Let's go ahead and just pick some of the games that I thought were really interesting, to say the least. First of all, Baltimore barely beating the Lions. The Lions literally had the lead, and they're like, okay, there's no way we can blow this. There's no way we can blow this. J-Tuck is lining up for a 66-yard field goal. He's going to miss it. And it bounced off the crossbar, and it bounced right into good territory minus bad territory for the kick. So you got to feel for the Detroit Lions fans out there, especially after losing on a doink that went the opposite way of what you expected. The Chargers beating the Kansas City Chiefs was a little bit of a what? The Saints losing, or actually winning, against the Patriots, I think was crazy. Cincinnati beating the Steelers. Ben Roethlisberger does not look that great, guys. Ben Roethlisberger, I was actually listening to one of the Locked On podcast, the NFL podcast, and they said that Ben Roethlisberger looks like Peyton Manning in his last year, but worse. I didn't think that you can get worse than that, but apparently he did it, and that just blew my mind. The Steelers are not going to have a good year this year. This might be the first year Mike Tomlin doesn't go 500, better than 500. He's going to lose his job. That is remarkable. That's crazy. The Vikings suddenly came out of nowhere and beat the Seahawks, which, wow, okay. And that's the only, big one that I wanted to talk about was that. The Jaguars probably had the lone highlight they're going to have the entire season with the kick six that happened. Other than that, they're probably not going to do much this season. And so I'm just going to go ahead and start the next segment, which is panic. I'm going to pick a team that I think needs to panic, and for sure,
don't panic! Don't panic!
It's got to be the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers, Ben Roethlisberger is not playing well. He did, I believe I heard he did 19 dink and dunk passes to Najee Harris, and that's not how you win. The defense for, sorry, my phone just went off. Yankees, Blue Jays score. The Yankees are losing to the Blue Jays. Thank God. Thank God. No, but the defense for the Bengals, they were just eating that up all day. They knew what Big Ben was going to do. This little dink and dump off passes to Najee Harris. You can't do it. You can't win that way. So with that, I'm going to say the Pittsburgh Steelers need to panic. The team that I think doesn't need to panic, however.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm!
Wait.
Everybody calm down!
I saw the Seattle Seahawks are 1-2. They're dwelling in that basement right now to start the season. However, the Seahawks are in a very tough division. That division is probably one of the toughest ones in the league. I think they're going to be okay. I think they might potentially get, maybe a wild card slot. I don't know. That's not for me to determine. That's my one per episode. Now, the thing we're going to do here is...
What the fuck happened?
I briefly mentioned it earlier, but J-Tuck getting that 66-yard field goal, That was insane. That was crazy. The Detroit Lions were on the sidelines literally saying, what the fuck happened? Because they had the Ravens dead to rights. They're like, we got this, we got this. A 66-yard field goal, that's a record. There's no way in hell this guy is going to sink that. And it took one little bounce in the grace of God, but Jay Tuck got it. That was crazy. So, also, I guess it's a double-sided sword, because you could also say to the Ravens, why did you let the Detroit Lions sneak up on you like that almost and completely take you out? That would have been a question that I would have loved to have asked at the press conference. And the good thing about the Lions, even though their record is shit, they are showing effort for Campbell. They're showing up. You know, some of these teams, like your Jacksonville Jaguars or like your Houston Texans, look like they're just straight up just giving up. They look like they're straight up lost. They don't care. They're millionaires. They just literally show up and play for 3 hours a week. I know practice goes into it. I know that watching film and all this and that goes into it. But ultimately, they play for 3 hours. And you spend all week prepping for 3 hours of work. And some teams show effort, some don't. And I really think that the Detroit Lions are showing a lot of effort. So, whew. And speaking of one of those teams that I just mentioned, fantasy player pickup of the week, I am just going to say pick up the Jags. The Jags. Excuse me. Pick up the Cincinnati Bengals defense this week, guys. They are playing the Jags. The Jags are awful. The Jags are terrible. My runner-up would probably have to be the Titans defense. I picked them up in a couple of leagues, and we'll see what happens. The Jets might actually be worse than the Jaguars. So, in all honesty, if you're going to pick up anybody, pick up one of those two defenses, either the Bengals defense or the Titans defense for sure, because they're playing worst 32A and 32B is pretty much what they're playing. Now, since Chris isn't here to talk about the Titans, I'm just going to go straight into talking about the Cowboys, what I liked, what I didn't like, and what my impression was. The Cowboys and Eagles is probably one of, if not the best rivalry in football. And it is something that usually matters. It usually has a significant price point to it. And that's why I think when the schedule makers made this game, that's the reason they made it for Monday Night Football. So you can get the primetime audience, you can get the all eyes on me, Tupac reference there, with having just that one game for the day. Just that one game. People work all day, they come home Monday night, and they want to sit there and crack open a beverage, maybe eat something amazing, and just watch the game. And I think that is definitely what they did. The Cowboys looked amazing, guys. They looked fantastic. Their defense, I'm thinking Travion Williams from Texas A&M, who works for the Cincinnati Bengals, plays for the Cincinnati Bengals. Trayvon Diggs is just already, a lot of people were comparing him to Byron Jones, his pretty much the guy that he replaced. But Byron Jones only had like 2 takeaways his entire first contract with the Cowboys, and I think Diggs has 8, and it's only his second season. So that tells you how effective the guy is and just how amazing he is. Micah Parsons is. What do they want to say on the Cowboys? Lock on Cowboys. They said they should change his position to DW, which is defensive weapon, and because this guy can play cornerback. This guy, just kidding, he probably can't play cornerback. Actually, you know what? I kind of like to see that. The guy can play linebacker. He can play on the defensive line. He can sell nachos in the 315 section of the stadium. He can do it all, guys. He is fantastic, and it's like my friend Ashley said. Actually, Chris's sister. I watched the game with her and my 2 best twin friends and Andrew's wife and Brittany and my wife, and we watched the game. And just Ashley said that this was the draft pick that we didn't know we needed in Micah Parsons. A lot of people were hemming and hawing that we didn't get J.C. Horn or Patrick Surtain. Last time I checked, they're both out right now with injuries. minor or not, they're still out, and we have Micah Parsons who is out there giving it his all. It seems like every single play, getting pressure on the quarterback, getting the hurries, getting the tackles that he needs when it comes to rushing, and I just think that just great investment, and the Cowboys might have somebody that can be a fantastic player for them for a decade to come if they wish. And yeah, on top of that, the offense, Dak Prescott pretty much played a flawless game of football, minus that strip sack in the end zone to give the Eagles pretty much their lone offensive touchdown for the first half. And we ended up winning 41-21, but the score wasn't even close. We should have had at least a couple more scores. And that's another thing that I'm kind of irked about was the refs, once again, they didn't call the touchdown for Dak in the end zone. And when I could see the tip of the football touching blue paint for the Cowboys end zone, that's a touchdown. All that ball has to do is cross that white line, and it crossed that white line and went into the next area code. That thing probably could have seen in Denton. That football probably could have been seen in Denton, Texas. And in all honesty, I just think that was crap. I think they should have given it to Dak, but you know what? I'm just a fan. Regardless, if it was an opposite team besides the Cowboys, I probably would have been like, no, that wasn't a touchdown at all. That wasn't, yeah. Glad the refs agreed with me on that one. I'm just kidding. I actually think I would have been pissed if it was, regardless if it was the Cowboys or not. I would have actually been really pissed. And once again, Mike McCarthy 2 weeks in a row kind of ill-advised play calling when it comes to the clock management. The guy honestly could have had their necks snapped before the second half. I mean, we already kind of did, and that pick six was kind of the period at the end of that sentence. The period at the end of that sentence. And so we probably could have scored another touchdown or kicked a field goal or whatever, what have you. We could have done a little bit more damage. But other than that, it was pretty damn good game. Impressed. And we'll see if we can keep this momentum going. There's no way in hell I don't think we're going to lose this division unless Dak, knock on wood, breaks something or gets ill or what have you. If Dak Prescott goes down, I think the team goes down. But if he stays healthy, then whoo-wee, NFC East might just already be a lock, and it's only been 3 weeks. So, speaking of 3 weeks going into the 4th week, let's go ahead and I would usually ask Chris this question, but since he's not here, and Chris did not give me his picks, he's been rather busy today. Let me check my emails one more time just to see if Chris sent me the picks. Checking my text also. Nope, nothing from Chris, nothing from Chris. Okay, so he'll just do his picks, and then he'll come on here and he'll either back up his picks and stand firm and die on that hill, or he's going to go die on that hill over there and then be like, okay, no, that was stupid. But anyway, so my question is, who you got? So starting with the Thursday night game, we got another stinker. But last week, the Thursday night game, oh yeah, it was terrible. This one might actually be on par with that. The Jacksonville Jaguars at the Cincinnati Bengals. There's no way in hell I'm not going to pick the Bengals. I think the Bengals have this. They're figuring it out, I think. Hopefully it's not too soon and they kind of like hit a wall and fall from grace. But the Bengals are actually looking pretty good. And it's just amazing to me that the Steelers are going to be cellar dwellers for that division if this streak keeps going. The first noon game, we have the Washington football team at the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons did beat the Giants last week. I do not think they're going to beat the football team, so I'm going to pick the football team on the road. The Houston Texans at the Buffalo Bills. I'm going to go with Buffalo. Signed, sealed, delivered. That's it. Detroit Lions at the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears are starting Justin Fields, I think, which I think hopefully his second appearance will be a hell of a lot better than his first, because his first one was yeesh. But no, like I said, effort for the Detroit Lions, so I'm going to pick Detroit on this one on the road. The noon game that I'm going to miss the game, but I'm going to have the score updates. I'm going to try to look at the stats as much as I can. I'll be driving home from Tulsa on Sunday, so I'm going to miss the game. I'm going to go to a KISS concert in Tulsa for their end of the road tour, so I'm really excited about that. But it's the Carolina Panthers at the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys get their second home game in a row and the second W in a row. Actually, third. It'd be their third W in a row. Woo! I have Cincinnati Bengals on the brain, evidently. The Indianapolis Colts at the Miami Dolphins. This is a pick your poison type of game. The Colts look terrible. The Dolphins look a little bit better with Jacoby Brissett, which is kind of weird to say. I wouldn't give Tua the reins back. I would definitely let Brissett stay. I'm going to go ahead and pick the Dolphins because I think they're a better team overall, regardless if it's their backup quarterback or not. Cleveland Browns at the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings pulled off that crazy win last week against Seattle, but the Browns are the Browns. That is a knock on Juju Smith-Schuster. The Browns are the Browns. This year the Browns are pretty damn good. The New York Giants at the New Orleans Saints. I'm picking the Saints as the home team, and I'm also picking the Saints just in general. Would not surprise me if the Giants get like 3 or 4 wins this season. Tennessee Titans at the New York Jets. The Titans all day. Like I said, go pick up their defense because they're playing the Jets, and the Jets scored a giant goose egg last week. They might score a touchdown or 2, but that's me being generous. Kansas City Chiefs at the Philadelphia Eagles. The Chiefs need a bounce back game, and this is the game to do it because the Eagles are hot garbage. The Arizona Cardinals at the LA Rams. The Rams look like world beaters right now. All they had to do was get a good quarterback. Jared Goff was not the answer. I always had a distaste for Jared Goff. I don't think he's a good quarterback. I do think that he fits better in Detroit, and Matt Stafford might actually fit better with the LA Rams. I'm picking the Rams over the Cardinals, but the Cardinals are also a team that you guys need to watch out for this year for sure. Seattle Seahawks versus the San Francisco 49ers. The Niners lost a heartbreaker against the Packers last week. The Seahawks lost a heartbreaker to the Vikings last week. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick the 49ers. This is a division game, so it should be good, but I'm going to go ahead and pick the home team. And I'm sorry, the 3:05 game started with the Cardinals and Rams, so this will be the first 3:25 game. That is the Baltimore Ravens at the Denver Broncos. The Broncos are 3-0, but they're kind of a suspect 3-0. They haven't really faced anybody. They faced bottom dwellers, cellar dwellers, and the Ravens look good. They don't look that great. However, this is going to be the Broncos' first test, and I think they're actually going to pass. I'm actually going to pick the Broncos, but that's just the first thing that I thought of was the Broncos because I actually kind of like the Broncos, and I hope that they're good, especially when they face the Cowboys because I'm going to that game with Tanner, who's my friend that's a really big Broncos fan. So, I don't know, maybe we'll have like a dinner or something on the table for the loser to pay for. We'll figure that out. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. The Pittsburgh Steelers at the Green Bay Packers. Like I said, Packers... actually, the Steelers. I said the Steelers look like hot garbage. The Steelers look inept. They look like they're going to be cellar dwellers, but I'm going to go ahead and pick the... there's no but. There shouldn't have been a but there. Also, I'm going to pick the Packers to probably dominate this game. Okay, Sunday Night Football. We got Tom Brady's homecoming. We got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the New England Patriots. I'm picking TB12 on this one. The Buccaneers, even though they lost last week, are still 1 or 2 in the NFL when it comes to the best team, but I still think that the Buccaneers are definitely, I don't know if the Rams, you can crown them just yet, but if you want to crown them, you can crown them, but the Buccaneers, you don't count them out. I'm going to pick Tommy Terrific to beat the Hoodie and Bill Belichick. And finally, Monday Night Football. This is going to be a good one. This is going to be a fantastic matchup. That is the Las Vegas Raiders at the LA Chargers. Another good Monday Night Football matchup. I'm glad that the schedule makers made this one. They probably didn't know how good the Raiders were going to be. The Raiders are sitting there undefeated. This is a divisional game, and this is a game that I think is going to be very, very close. It's going to be a shootout, and I think it's just going to be entertaining from start to finish. I'm going to go ahead and pick the Chargers, but I would not be surprised if the Las Vegas Raiders found a way to win this. Okay, so I just locked in my picks, so there you go. I got my picks. Just to recap, that is the Bengals, the Washington football team, the Buffalo Bills, the Detroit Lions, the Dallas Cowboys, the Miami Dolphins, Cleveland Browns, New Orleans Saints, Tennessee Titans, Kansas City Chiefs, LA Rams, San Francisco 49ers, Denver Broncos, Green Bay Packers, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Los Angeles Chargers. All right, guys. Well, that's all I pretty much have for you. So, like I said, Chris should be back next week, and hopefully he'll face me, and I'll still be ahead in the pick'em instead of behind. But you know what? We'll just find out what happens with the picks. All right, guys. Thank y'all so much once again for dropping by. And always remember my little piglets. Call him Pork Chop. Loves y'all the mostest. Also make good choices, especially in the goddamn pick'em. Bye, guys.